Shan did this interview with one of Nick Cannon's baby mothers. Her name is Abby De La Rosa. I'm going to put the link in the description box. After you watch this, you can go ahead and watch the original interview. So Shan is interviewing Abby, and Abby is describing her open/polyamorous relationship with Nick Cannon, how it came about, how she feels about it now, etc., etc. And subtle though they might be, I see at least 10 signs that that dynamic isn't as healthy as she is presenting it to be. And I want to talk about that in this video because I feel like these signs, though not necessarily that noticeable in isolation, when you put them together, tell a very real story of how toxic dynamics start and how they are maintained in not just the lives of celebrities, but with everyday women and their lives. Now, the first sign sounds like a really good thing. She says he made her feel free and safe and secure. This is a good thing, right? Every woman wants to feel free, safe, and secure within their relationship. And it is a good thing. However, coupled with some other things that we spot during the interview, this is actually a red flag. So I'm not going to elaborate too much on it now, but when we get to sign number 10, I'll circle back and elaborate on this one. So for now, let's put a pin in her feeling free, safe, and protected by him. Number 2, not being able to make a informed decision about what she actually got into. Now, in the interview, she does state that she knew what she was getting into. She made an informed decision about it. But then later on and throughout, she kind of contradicts that. Check it out.
Now, don't get me wrong, we're all humans. So Nick is not perfect because there's times where he's been a little hesitant with being completely honest. And I think that that's something that everybody wants to go in and state like, oh, there was honesty. Sometimes there's not. And you are really left in the dust of finding out things on your own or through fake social media accounts.
Now, these contradictions revealed to me that she didn't really know what she was getting into, but she wants to present the illusion that she made an informed decision about being in the predicament or situation that she is in now, which by her own statements, we know not to be entirely accurate. The fact that she's trying so hard to make it seem as though this was all intentional indicates to me that she's covering a situation that wasn't so forthright, wasn't so transparent, so as she doesn't look foolish. Number 3, he gives her the illusion of power. Not that he has power. He gives her the illusion that she has power within the relationship. And I say illusion because of what transpires later in the interview. He gives her the illusion of power while steering the relationship in the direction that he wants it to go. How does he do this? He lets her speak. In the interview, Abby says that actually Nick didn't force things at all. It was her saying, there's nothing more to this, right? This is just sex, right? And him saying, how can you just say that? Here's a clip right here.
I didn't know that he was actively into an open or polyamorous style lifestyle.
Yes.
I thought that he just happened to get all these women pregnant, like one monogamous connection at a time.
Yeah.
But instead, he had already chosen this lifestyle for himself.
Yes. So I can't speak on nobody else, but what I will say for myself is I was very self-aware and well aware of what I was getting involved in.
And you weren't getting involved like, well, I'm going to be the one to make
no,
you
as a matter of
monogamous.
Fact, no, that's probably the complete opposite. I think that's where him and I kind of had a disagreement at one point because I said we both had like a sit-down conversation and I remember telling him, this is just sex, right? Like, this is not going anywhere else than what we are experiencing now. And he's like, how do you say that? Like, how are you able to say that? And I'm like, you do you and I'm going to do me. And then we'll get together in those moments, enjoy those moments, and we separate. We go our separate ways.
It was her leading the relationship, saying things like, there's nothing more to it than sex, right? And him saying, how can you just say that? Feigning hurt or astonishment or something. But notice how he doesn't answer her question. He doesn't confirm or deny whether there's anything more to it. He just answers the question with a question. That implies, as toxics love to do, that there may be more to it, and how could she be so cold-hearted? But doesn't actually confirm or deny. Thus, leading the relationship in the direction that he wants it to go, which is with no labels, with nothing defined, nothing understood, and vagueness. And while it might sound like she's taking the lead on this and dictating what type of relationship it is, I'm inclined to believe that what she was trying to do was clarify the relationship, what it is and what it isn't, without actually saying, what is this? And he doesn't clarify it at all. Instead, he answers the question with a question, which is a typical toxic response. And to add more confusion to the confusion, she says they came into conflict about what the relationship was when she was casual about it, even though he was already well established as a polygamist. So what was the conflict for? My guess was it was to make her feel special and in control, while she did exactly what he wanted. Number 4, it's one-sided. Abby speaks about this open relationship that her and Nick have, yet he's the only one in other relationships. Apart from when she initially met him, she doesn't actually talk about being with other people throughout the relationship. So with that being said, the relationship is only open one way, his way. What kind of open polygamous relationship is that? This is more like him just going off and doing his thing and you having kids and just sticking with it. Number 5, the covert devaluation. She speaks about Valentine's Day and how he got all of his other baby mothers the same flowers, the same gifts, the same everything. And she found this out when she posted it and found out that all his other baby mothers also posted the exact same thing. Now, she clearly didn't feel good about this. Rightly so, he wasn't taking into account her individuality or any of their individual likes, needs, personalities, or anything, which covertly, publicly states that none of them are actually special in any way or thought of any differently from the other. When your personal gifts, abilities, personality, sense of humor, or any of those things aren't taken into consideration and you're lumped in with a load of other people, that's a form of devaluation, because we're all individual people with individual qualities that stand out to the people who care about us, right? So when that's flattened and merged into one thing, that's devaluation. Now, it might not be intentional, but it's devaluing of her and the person that she is. Now, she minimizes the situation by laughing it off and saying, oh, I thought it was this and then it was that. So she's laughing at the situation, but it's nothing to laugh about. And she knows that it's nothing to laugh about, because she then goes on to say that she sat him down and said that she needed to talk to him about the situation. Now, the response that she got from that is very telling on many levels. Check it out.
I remember sitting Nick down and being like, we got to talk. Like, we got to really put names and categories of like what color balloons are going to like, what flowers are best for who, what would wear. And he thinks I'm just funny whenever I say that. But I really mean it. I'm really just trying to prevent these crazy situations from happening and having the world just attack us like crazy.
And what does it tell us? It tells us that she has no influence and she has no say in the dynamic of the relationship, in what she experiences in that relationship. Because what does he do when she brings a genuine concern to him about something that happened that she wasn't so happy with? He laughs it off. He doesn't take it seriously and he dismisses it. How can you do that and then still say that you care about that person and how they feel in a situation when they bring something to you that is of concern to them, but you don't address it at all? What's going on there? Effectively, while she's talking about them being a happy family and it being something that she wants in her life, the reality is she has no control over anything that happens within that relationship. The only thing she has control over is whether she stays in it or not. Anything else, she has no influence over. That is not a healthy dynamic to be in with anyone, no matter what the relationship is or isn't called. Then she goes on to say that he's not even honest. What did she say? He was reluctant with honesty. Now, reluctant with honesty might imply that, he doesn't come forward with the honesty, but he's honest in the end. But that's not what she means, because she goes on to say that some things you're left to find out on your own, and other things you have to go and sort out via fake social media profiles. Now, I don't know whether she was talking about her becoming an FBI agent with a fake profile or whether other people were doing it to her. But either way, we're finding out stuff that he isn't telling her. Yet she says that she trusts him and the relationship. I don't understand how you could have a healthy trust in a relationship where honesty isn't present. Because as Shan says, trust is built with consistency over time. The only thing that he's consistent at is not being clear, not being consistent, and not being honest. So I'm thinking what she's describing as trust is most probably an unhealthy attachment to a situation that she's telling herself that she trusts so that she doesn't have to leave the situation. Number 8, the lack of respect. The fact that whenever she mentions things to him that she doesn't like, he doesn't take it seriously and he dismisses it, is a clear sign of a lack of respect. Because if you respect somebody, you listen to them, you take on board what they're saying. Now, whilst he might not be calling her out of her name, slapping her around the room or anything like that, he's still showing a distinct lack of respect when it comes to interacting with her. Number 9, she presents the relationship as though it's an alternative relationship. She's reluctant to give it a label because, quite frankly, she doesn't know what the label would be because he's just operated in complete vagueness the entire time. But she does mention polygamy. Now, whether we're talking about polygamy, an open relationship, whether we're talking about S&M, whatever type of relationship that falls outside of the mainstream heterosexual or gay dynamic actually requires more attention to detail, not less. The illusion that is given when it comes to polygamy or open relationships is that it's just free and open and everybody just goes with the flow. That is not the case. Because if it was just free and open and everybody just went with the flow, people would get hurt and it would be extremely toxic. So in order for those relationships to remain healthy, they need more attention, not less. They need more attention to boundaries. They need more attention to communication. All of these relationships need more work put in, more intimacy than even the standard mainstream relationships so that they can function and not be toxic. So she's not actually experiencing a healthy alternative relationship. What she's experiencing is a toxic alternative relationship. This is the bottom line. And number 10, abandonment. He abandons her at her time of need. This is the sign that makes number 1 a huge red flag. Because what did he do in the beginning? He made her feel free, safe, and protected. So where was all of that safety and protection when she was exposed to the public and everybody was calling her a homewrecker? Because whilst he might have been somewhere to be found, as in she could call him, he was of no help to her whatsoever, even though he had direct experience with the type of challenges that she was going through, and also experience of other women going through the type of thing she was because of him. Now, she says it wasn't his responsibility to do that, but at the end of the day, he was the root cause of why she was experiencing any of that drama in the first place. Yet, he had nothing for her, not a tip, not a suggestion. Are you kidding me? To the point where she has to rely on her sister, who has no experience of this at all, for support and tips on how to handle it. Now, please explain to me how that makes any sense. How does that make sense? He literally created a situation that would be bad for her. And whilst he didn't physically leave her to deal with it, he left her emotionally to deal with it. He didn't give any guidance of any kind. In fact, she said all he gave was toxic positivity, which I can only assume only added to her distress. I mean, it's all very well making someone feel safe, free, and protected when they're not really in need of any protection or any safety or any of that. But what happened to that when she actually needed it? Here's the thing, ladies, we have to pay attention to this. Where's the follow through in all of these lovely, fluffy feelings that you feel in the beginning? Because if there's no follow through, if there's like an abandonment when there should be follow through, like in this situation, that's a huge red flag. Now, I know I said 10 and we've done our 10, but I want to throw in a few extra. The first one, the speed at which the relationship went. In the space of 2 years, they met, they had twins, and they established this polygamous / open / alternative / toxic relationship, as far as I'm concerned. That's a lot to happen in 2 years. As I'm always saying, toxics love to speed the pace of the relationship, get you committed, get you fully invested really, really soon. So what does he do? He gives her twins very early on. I think it's safe to say that's a full investment right there. So I don't like that that's a bit of an issue. Also, she said he made her feel free, but then how free is she in reality? Because he's free to do his thing, yet she's never been in another relationship whilst being with him after the initial commitment that they made with each other. So she's not safe, she's not protected, and she's not even free. That feeling of freedom was given to her so that she would feel free enough to engage in the type of dynamic that he wanted. Another flag is that she was in a toxic relationship before that, which means that she didn't really have a stable kind of outlook from the beginning. Based on that interview and what I heard, it sounds like she was in a toxic relationship for a long time. She was recovering from that toxic relationship. As a result of that, she decided that she didn't necessarily want to focus on one person at that time. She wanted to go out, she wanted to have fun. In that time, she met Nick and a couple of other people. She was dating all of them, she was having fun. She became curious about this open relationship based on his influence and decided to give it a try. Now that she's given it a try, she has 2 kids, another one on the way, and no real say in how this open polygamous relationship goes. She's now decided that she actually wants a monogamous relationship moving forward in her future. So whilst at the beginning of the interview, she was saying things like, this is my choice, this is the way I choose to live my life, in reality, it was an experiment that she was doing that took on a life of its own. And now she wants the monogamous settings back. The relationships with labels and understanding and respect and honesty and two-way communication, because these are the things that healthy relationships include. This is my take on the situation. I could be wrong, but this is what I see. And like I said, I wanted to talk about this because a lot of women get themselves into these type of dynamics, especially when they're trying something new. They're trying polygamy, or they're trying an open relationship, or they're trying S&M, or whatever they're trying that's outside of the norm. When they try these things, they forget that there are certain fundamentals that are required in any relationship, whatever the dynamic. And we tend to let those go and, again, leave ourselves open and vulnerable to toxic dynamics. So whoever you are, whatever choices you want to make about how you live your life, please, please, please don't let go of these fundamental principles, because they're so, so important. They are the glue that keep relationships healthy, no matter what you're calling that relationship.